Welcome to the Crispin podcast, the show where we talk about trending topics from people to lifestyle with your host, Crispin. We're thrilled to have you join us on this journey.
Hey, Crispinators, another beautiful episode of Crispin's podcast. And of course, this is the Act 3. Are you guys ready for my next episodes? If you cannot watch us, you can always listen to us on Spotify and Apple Music. So where you at? Are you ready? Let's go into the next episode of Crispin's podcast. So, listen. So now we moved from Turkey, we went to South Africa, and now we hop into Egypt, Cairo. Now, Egypt. So when I went to Egypt, I didn't go to Egypt as a tourist. Actually, I went there to volunteer. I don't know if you guys remember this company. It was called Isaac. Yes, Isaac. I actually worked with them for a long time, So Isaac is basically, it's like you having like a 2 month, 1 month holidays and just want to go and volunteer with free accommodation, of course. So I was being given like a free accommodation. There was no salary. It was like volunteer, but I wanted to teach English because, like I said, after leaving Turkey, I was now exposed. I knew a lot of things about traveling and living alone as an immigrant in a foreign country. So in Egypt, I went there to teach English to like kids, and trust me, it was one of the most best experience of my life. Yes, you heard from me. Egypt was one of the most best experience for me. Now listen, don't let anybody fool you. Egypt might look very deserty, very was pyramidy and all that, but trust me, they have a lot of nightlife, crazy nightlife. I could say I really have a lot of fun in Egypt compared to Turkey. Actually, if I want to be honest with myself, Egypt, like everybody speaks English in Turkey. I'm sorry, everybody speaks English in Egypt, and trust me, like it was good. And the food was very good. I remember I used to love a food called kosheri and then hawashi. Those were my favorite 2 foods in Egypt. And it was so good and very spicy, actually. Oh, yes. That was the first time I tasted falafel, tamia, in Egypt. It's very popular in Egypt. Actually, they eat it like a breakfast, And trust me. So Egypt, I went there to volunteer with a company called Isaac. And then I was living in the place called... I forgot. It was in Cairo. Yeah, it was in Cairo, actually. It was in New Giza or something. I forgot. It's a long time ago. I met a lot of friends, a lot of foreigners from Brazil, from in fact South America, Asia, Europe, America. As I speak to you now, I'm friends with a lot of them. We are still in touch, actually. We have like a WhatsApp group that we talk and all that. It was very fun. I really enjoyed myself in Egypt. So teaching English was very good for me because I was teaching with Palestinians, like those refugee kids, and it was very good. And of course, like I said, in Egypt, even though it's an African country, there's more like Middle Eastern compared to black people there. But it was okay. I didn't face any racism in Egypt. And of course, the only thing I had in Egypt was that it was very dusty. Yes, that was the only thing. It was very dusty for me. It's like some time ago, I'm thinking one time ago it rained, and I was so happy that it rained. But the rain was just like, it couldn't even last for like an hour. It was just like 30-40 minutes, and then that was it. And of course, Egypt also has its own like share of good and bad, but of course it's interesting country. Actually, Egypt, I don't know what you are sitting on. If you're in Africa, you really have to see Egypt, Turkey, and maybe South Africa. These 4 countries is a must see. You really have to see all these countries. In Egypt, we used to I remember in the back in those days in the Isaac volunteering system, we used to go out a lot every weekend, go for like pub crawl, like nightlife in Egypt, go on the Faluka. Faluka is like the boat that rides on the river Nile, I really enjoy myself in Egypt. At the point, my friends came visit me in Egypt. We went out. So the interesting thing was that I was supposed to spend 1 month in Egypt, okay? But I ended up spending 6 months because you know what happened? The school that I was teaching with, you were like, Chris, you know what? After 1 month, we want you to stay. So we're gonna pay your salary. So at this point, I was no more volunteering. I was actually taking salary. So I'm like, who doesn't want this? So I did this, and of course I got my own place, so yeah, it's a beautiful, very plush place with this AC master bed. My bed was very giant, like it was like a extra large. Oh, did I say extra large? I mean in that side, yeah, it was a king size bed basically. So yeah, it was a very nice big one, and it was very nice. And like, trust me, Egypt, the people were very nice actually. And like I said, most of the food in the Middle Eastern countries, it almost looks the same. Like, because I live in Turkey, I'm a little bit influenced by the food in Turkey. So most of the food that you see in Turkey is the food you're going to see when you go to Bulgaria, Romania. It's the same food. The kebab, the shisha, whatever, the shawarma, it's all the same. They have the same kind of food everywhere. So yes, it was good. And I made a lot of friends. And of course, like I said, the Faluka life in Egypt was so I remember every once and every 3 days, 4 days, we go on the Faluka. Oh, by the way, I actually had a chance to also travel to Masa Alam. I went to Dahab. I went to, what's the other one? I went to Masa Alam, Shamshek or Hurghada. I went to one of them. Then I also went to Luxor and Aswan. It was so good. Like, the food was so good. I wanted to do like the cruise, but unfortunately that week there was no cruise on that week, so we couldn't do that. But of course, I really enjoyed myself in Hurghada, and I had the best. In fact, my first time snorkeling, and then what's the other one called? Scuba diving. But of course, I'm scared of water. I panic as soon as they drop me into the water. I panic, So I don't think water is my friend. I'm not good in swimming. Water is not my friend, actually. I can just like dab my legs into the water and just like play, but there's not going to be my whole body wetting in the water. No. But it was good. Egypt's very one country that I think everybody should go there. And of course, you can also teach English in Egypt, by the way. So yeah, you can go there and teach English, because like I said, when I finished my 1 month volunteering, I had school offers. People were calling me. At a point, I was traveling from Cairo to a place called 6 October. And 6 October is like 30 to 40 minutes from Cairo. Yes, it's very far away, So yeah, Egypt is quite big, actually. So yes, I was doing this every day, and I'm like, you know what? It's too far away from me. I'm not gonna do that. So I opted for something just around me and what I can do. So yes, it was a very nice thing to do, and of course, I urge you all to go there. And of course, the New Year's Eve there is very massive. Like Egypt, my God, like the clothes, the food, the people, everybody's so nice in Egypt. Like, and they're very open-minded people. They're very, very so open-minded people. They are just like living. Sometimes you would think that, oh, it's a Muslim country, so they're a little bit strict. Yeah, they're strict, but not that strict. Like the things I can do in Ghana, when I went to Egypt, I could do it in Egypt, actually. So it wasn't really like just like big deal, like, oh, they're Muslims, so they don't. No. Because I saw alcohol, and the people were selling alcohol and everything. Forget about the media. Media just exaggerate a lot of things, Just go there and explore yourself. And of course, they have nightclubs. Trust me, Egypt has a lot of nightclubs. And apparently, they said one of the most expensive cities in Egypt is like Cairo, New Cairo, Doki, and a place called Mahdi. Yes, and apparently I happen to live in Turkey, so apparently they said my hood was very expensive. I didn't even know this, because I don't know, So yes, it was a very nice place, but like I said, it's a little bit dusty, so watch out for that when you go in there. Get your humidifier and all that. So it's a little bit hot, even though I'm from Ghana. It's very interesting. Then again, it's very interesting. Everybody thinks, oh, Africa is very hot. Africa is very hot. It's true, Africa is very hot, but look, there is hottest. You understand? There are some countries that are very cold, they are very hot, they are very hotter, and then hottest country. So please don't just generalize and say Africa is very hot. It is hot in general, but make sure you know which country you're talking about, because yes, Egypt was very nice. And of course, I think you guys should really go there if you really want to teach English, if you want to work in HR or work as educationist or something. Egypt is the place you should be, and trust me. I remember I used to see a lot of dogs all over the place. I'm like, whoa, Muslim countries, a lot of dogs. And Turkey also have a lot of stray dogs. Yeah, there's a lot of stray dogs also in Turkey a lot. I see that a lot. So yes, that's how I got to experience Egypt. I went to the Cairo, I went to the pyramids. I had a picture dressed like a pharaoh. We went to the pharaoh land. Is it a pharaoh city or village or something? It's a pharaoh village or something. I urge you guys, if you go to Cairo, try and do that thing. It's very nice. They put you in a boat, then they'll cruise you around the river, and as you're approaching every section, you see somebody living like how they used to live back in the old days. It's so beautiful and a very affordable place. When you're in Egypt, try and do it. They're all in the Cairo. I think they're all in there. It's a pharaoh village or something, I forgot. But when you go on Google, you can search it up. It's a very nice place to do. And of course, Egypt was so good. And yes, I miss Egypt. I can go at any time if I have money and time. I really want to go there again. So yes, that's how I explore Egypt. Now, the hour of the day, I moved to Belgium. This is also another video for another day. And of course, with Belgium, I think I'm going to start with Belgium, because Belgium, I'm still living here, so I can't conclude the story, but I'll give you what I'm going through now in Belgium. So let's jump onto the next episode. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, like, and share, and see you on the flip side of the.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Crispin Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on Apple Music and Spotify, leave a review, and share it with your friends and family. Your support means the world to us. See you next time.